What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers have a lot to figure out with D'Angelo Russell. In a perfect world, he doesn't walk and just leave the Lakers for nothing, right? Whether it's he opts in, which would give the Lakers the flexibility to potentially go trade him, keep him if they wanted to, or if he is kind of open. There's a lot of talks and reports about the Lakers maybe potentially giving him an inflated contract, say 30 million, something like that, which then now they have as an expiring deal, which they could use to maybe go make a trade and pull something off. Great example is the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I know Atlanta at the trade deadline didn't want D'Angelo Russell, but they also weren't planning or had the intentions of trading Trae Young and kind of hitting this rebuild button. They've also gotten the number one pick, right? So a lot has changed since the trade deadline. And there's talks and reports now that Atlanta actually is looking to shed some salary, right? That they don't want to take out a bunch of long-term salary in any potential trade for a Donovan or for a Trae Young or a DeJounte Murray, was who I meant, not Donovan Mitchell. But so if that's the case, well, then maybe you could work something out to where, D'Angelo Russell could potentially go to Atlanta. Also, Atlanta didn't want to pair Trae with D'Lo, right? Well, if you're going to trade Trae, well, then now you might be more open to D'Lo. Again, just using an example. We'll see what happens. Although could see the Lakers landing Trae Young. But regardless, the idea is you either keep D'Lo or you work something out to where you could trade him. And one of the teams that just keeps being thrown out over and over and over and over again in regards to D'Angelo Russell is the Orlando Magic. Now, Orlando really wants shooting and a kind of premier playmaker, somebody that can get guys set up, kind of keep the offense more fluid. D'Angelo Russell is a guy that we have seen that can and is capable of doing that. It's not a coincidence that all of his best games with the Lakers were all when he had the ball in his hands and he was allowed to be the point guard. His ability to play off ball is what is so valuable with pretty much any team in any situation, right? Because, with the Lakers, for example, LeBron had the ball in his hands a lot. So yeah, D'Lo at times could make plays and could do, the things that a point guard is required to do. But also with his ability to shoot and be so good off ball, he was able to kind of rotate and transition into that position, right? And kind of play like, almost like a two guard role, right? So a team like Orlando, they see a lot of value in that as like, hey, they desperately need shooting, but on top of making maybe getting a shooter, if you could get an actual playmaking point guard, now you're in great shape. So it makes sense that Orlando name keeps kind of getting thrown out because D'Lo is kind of exactly what Orlando needs. The problem is like Orlando doesn't really need the Lakers, right? They could sign him, I believe it's to like 19.5 million, 20 million, something like that. So they could give him a deal. And D'Lo, more than anything, probably wants long-term money, right? Like he would probably take, I could see him like if Orlando was like, hey, we'll give you 4 years, 60 million, right? Some people might look at that and go, why would he opt out to go make less money? But it's like he's making the long-term money rather than just 1 year going and now he's getting shopped around. Like guys want the stability, right? Guys want the long-term, like, freedom of like, okay, I don't have to worry about where's my next this, where's my next that. Like he wants the longevity. Now, however, if the Lakers were to come in and say, hey, yeah, they're offering you 19 million, we'll give you 30 million. Well, now that's basically 2 years worth of what Orlando would pay him. So at that point, it's like, okay, I might as well take that, right? Because if Orlando's going to give me, even if they're willing to give him 19 million, the Lakers essentially double that. Okay, well, now you get basically 2 years worth of money, and then you can go, you're still young enough and talented enough to where you could go to a different team or, maybe Orlando's still interested in you. But ideally, it would be you work out some type of trade with Orlando for D'Lo. Now, you could ask, which I'm sure many of you are thinking, like, well, okay, why would Orlando be willing to work out a trade when they could just sign D'Lo outright? Well, two reasons. One is the one that I just mentioned, which is the Lakers could just throw more money at him. I think that they could give D'Lo up to like 36 million or something like that. So they could just say, hey, we're over the cap regardless. Let's just throw the money out there. Let's keep D'Lo. We don't want to lose him for nothing, right? And now we got that tradable asset that, has value. And then Orlando, sorry, tough. Or the other option would be that Orlando wants to make other moves, right? So Orlando is a team that, yes, they like D'Lo, but you hear a lot of talks about them wanting, Klay Thompson, or they're interested in throwing their hat. Even a Paul George has been kind of thrown around, right? So it is very possible that they look at it and go, well, we could go and sign whomever, right? Let's say they sign Klay Thompson, right? We could go sign Klay Thompson and then trade for D'Angelo Russell. And they could work out some type of, where maybe D'Lo either opts in or gets a new deal, or they work out some sign and trade. Like, there's a million options in which they could go for that. And they could also kind of clear off some of their logjam, right? They got a couple decisions that they need to make on guys. They're going to have to pay a couple guys pretty soon. So they might be willing to kind of, unload a couple players and pieces, right? So again, like maybe you work something out to where, you're shipping out a Cole Anthony or something, and, Gary Harris or whatever, right? Like you're throwing out a couple pieces to kind of help unload some players to kind of bring your new guys in, but also getting the pieces that you want. Because again, like if Orlando basically gives D'Lo all of their cap space, well, then now they can't go get other pieces outside of trade. But if they go and sign somebody else and they know that the Lakers would be open to trading D'Lo, well, then now, the Lakers, you can kind of have a mutually beneficial thing where it's like, and Orlando and the Lakers have had many trades over the years, particularly for big guys, right? Dwight Howard, Shaquille O'Neal, right? But I mean, there's been, like, they have a relationship of trades, and you usually go back to the teams that you've had trades with, right? Lakers even, not this past trade deadline, but the previous one for like Mo Bamba and stuff, right? So Orlando's definitely a team that's open and willing to trade with the Lakers. And, it's just kind of finding that common ground. It's like, okay, because again, it's like if they don't, like, let's say they do want Klay, let's say Klay's willing to come. Well, then now they have to work out a deal with Golden State, right? Well, does Golden State have anyone else that they want or whatever? Like, and how much does Klay want compared to D'Lo, right? It just depends on, how they want to structure things, how they want to go about things. And, obviously they want to get as much talent and as many players that fit a need as possible. This is a team that was just in the playoffs that has aspirations of, potentially competing and winning NBA championships in the near future, right? So if they see pieces and players that they think make sense for now and the future, they're going to go try to acquire them, right? They're going to do whatever they can to go kind of land those guys. And they are limited on cap space. They're going to have to start, as I mentioned, paying guys and making tough decisions on guys. So it's like if you can kind of clear off some guys that you're kind of on the fence with, or maybe some guys that you're not really too sure about, and then the Lakers, they can get some depth, they can get some added pieces. It's a win-win for all parties, all sides together, right? Lakers get to kind of have their D'Lo situation resolved. Orlando gets their guy in D'Angelo Russell, plus whatever else they end up acquiring with their cap space. Everyone's happy. It's all rainbows and sunshine at that point. But, regardless, Lakers, they definitely have some decisions on their hands with D'Angelo Russell, right? I believe that the Lakers are going to do whatever it takes and whatever they have to in order to, basically either trade or keep D'Lo, right? Because they can't afford to just lose him. Yes, they could get to their full mid-level exception, but like, who on the market at that price is going to be good enough, right? Like in a perfect world, it's like a DeMar DeRozan or something like that. But realistically, you're probably not getting that, right? Realistically, he's probably going to take $30 million from, the Chicago Bulls, right? So it's like, again, it's about who's available, what's realistic, and is there another option that's better than D'Angelo Russell for the mid-level? And if you do your mid-level, you got to be careful with Max Christie, so you could run the risk of not only losing D'Angelo Russell, but also losing Max Christie. It's not the best position for you to be in if you're the Lakers. So you want to try to keep D'Angelo Russell. You want to kind of try to keep, or if you can't keep him, at least work out some deal to where you're trading him and then all parties are happy. Everyone's good. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of maybe working something out with the Orlando Magic? Is there any particular players in Orlando that you would prefer, that you'd like to get? Obviously, like in a perfect world, you get Jalen Suggs and Wendell Carter or something like that. That to me would be a home run. But now, how realistic is that? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.